So many birds. So many. Moto, tori.
What's up, everyone? It's me, Gazbot, and it's day 62. Yes, 62 of 100 days of making comics. So I'm gonna keep the FaceTime portion of this short today, because I did a process video. I got in 2 hours of work on the Horror A4. All 2 hours were spent on the first panel roughs of page 6, which was sort of an interior of a subway. And it ended up taking a while, but I feel really good about it because it was a hard panel with a lot of people and stuff. So I did 2 hours today, which is what I like to hold myself to, so I'm happy to be back on that minimum. And it's still daylight, so I got it done earlier in the day, which is also a good thing. And I'm gonna go ahead and put up the process video right here. Okay, so we were working on page 6, which I had previously done the bottom 2 panels, kind of avoiding this top panel, which is the Stansport Tube, which is kind of like a subway type thing. I was looking at a lot of reference for monorails and subways and things like that, and I found the picture on the right, which was shockingly close to what I was looking for. And it's for a monorail that is built or is being built as a prototype in some other country. It may or may not even be in service, but while I didn't copy it exactly, it had this sort of one-point perspective layout I was looking for, and kind of the rounded bars looked, it just was close. Anyway, you can see here I'm messing around with perspective as best I can, putting in some benches. The pipes on the floor, don't know what that is. Future stuff. A couple bars for people to hold. It's also worth noting I normally do these at 8 times speed. This is at 16 times speed because at 2 hours it was already pretty long even at 8 times speed. So here I decided, originally I think I was not going to have it be more than 1 car, but as I was drawing it I realized for the depth of field I wanted and the amount of characters it would have to be at least 2 cars. So that's what I'm sort of trying to match up here. And I'm using a mix of real perspective and guess perspective, which is sort of my specialty. As long as it kind of looks halfway right. The fact that I know most of this is going to be covered up by people and word balloons helps a lot. It's not like you know, someone's going to have to produce this in a movie or something, and this is a technical drawing. Although I was pretty pleased with how well it came out. Oh, I decided to put a door there, so it's only 2 cars total. Little adjustments. And then I think at this point I started, more poles. Those 2 poles there in the foreground so we don't see what they land on. And then in the background, yeah, I think, yeah, so essentially we're seeing 2 cars, but the poles in the front are from the 3rd car. So there's 3 cars that are open to each other. It's as though we're standing in the first one, the second one is in the foreground, and the 3rd one is in the background of the picture. So at this point, I wanted to figure out where I wanted to put the people from the thumbnail, and so I also consulted the script to see who was saying what where, and I realized most of the talking was being done by 1 character, and then there was music coming from Boots' headphones, so she's sort of kind of hearing this conversation, or this monologue really, in between the music she's listening to. That's Boots from the previous day, and now I start populating the back with the characters. I mean, they're not, most of them are not characters, most of them are just props, but I did try to, you know, take advice I've heard of treating backgrounds and crowds as like their own challenge and their own characters. So I tried to make them all look unique. Maybe have them dressed a certain way. They're going to work, they're coming from work, they're annoyed, they're out with their boyfriend, they're bored, you know, whatever. I try to put a little acting into it and make the clothes and physiques and genders all different, as opposed to having a bunch of similar looking, you know, white guys in suits on their way to work standing up straight. And then I put these 2 faces here are foreground characters that are sitting basically at the same level as Boots, but like again, if they're in the next car, which we can't see. I originally started drawing that character. Yeah, here's the thug who's in the background, who is an actual character, and I needed to check the height against the character that was closer, but I wanted him to be taller. So once again, I'm kind of figuring out roughly how tall he should be if he was the same size as her, and then make him a little bit taller. Adjust the pants. I also had him, I wanted to have him staring intently at Boots, but then I thought it'd be better if he's sort of looking away with his head, but maybe looking with his eyes, so it's not super obvious. And also, if he's like a criminal, he wouldn't be dumb enough to stare. I had him holding that pole, but then I realized the pole is not even in the car he's in, so I put some little hand-hold things on top to, A, to make him correct, and B, because it should have that sort of thing if it's a tube of that sort. So then I started blocking in the opacity for the poles. to block who they need to block. You know, that one is in front of Boots, the other's behind it, etc. Then I filled in the opacity on the characters so that they would block out the background where they needed to. And I'm just doing more of that. And double check the poles, give Boots her opacity. And so here I was kind of done with what was... Oh, I also realized this lady holding the pole is in the right car, but her feet were way in front of it, so it didn't make sense perspective-wise. So then I had her just standing there, but I wanted to put another character in the foreground by the pole, by the old guy on the bottom right that would be standing there. Again, just trying to make it look really densely populated, and adjusted them. And I realized I kind of put the bare minimum of people I needed. And so after I did that, I was like, well, there's all these empty seats. Let me fill them up with even more background characters, like even less well-developed. But just, I think I have a tendency, if there's 3 seats, I put 3 people. And that's not reality. There's, you know, sometimes there's an empty seat, and then there's 3 people on top of one, and people standing. And, you know, I just wanted it to look more like a real crowd. This guy's sitting the wrong way on the seat, you know. Overall, I was pretty happy with how this came out. It's not the type of scene I normally look forward to. This many people, perspective, you know, technology, like, it's not my forte. None of this is. So the fact that it came together, even though it took me 2 hours, it came together pretty well. And it's, again, it's way more than a rough. It's much closer to rough pencils. So it's not, I'm not intimidated anymore. I was intimidated by this panel, which is why I was working on the other ones. But where it is now, I know I could bring it to final without much problem because I've worked out all the problems. And yeah, not to pat myself on the back too much, but I'm pretty proud of this panel, the composition and everything. And I'm glad I didn't force myself to do it on a day when I was doing a half hour. I'm glad I waited till a day when I had the 2 hours to do it, because then I didn't feel rushed. And yeah, put some more opacity on those guys, and then some shading for depth and atmosphere, and I think we're coming up on the end. Yeah, there it is. Cha-cha! And then I'll just take that and... Okay, so there's that. So like I said, I'm going to keep it short because I know that was probably long, and I love you, and you are friendly, and you have happy people in your socks, and those are your toes. Your toes are your happy people. So love them. I don't know what I'm doing. Day 62. That means... Wake up. Wake up. There's only 38 days left. Can you believe it? Why aren't you more excited? 38 days. That was perfect acting.